Hey San Antonio, this is Rob for the MetalWorks. We're here at Graham Central Station, yes, for the finale, in support of the Blackest of the Black tour. It brings me distinct honor and to personally bring you my dark hero. Yes, I have the man, Mr. Glenn Danzig. How are you doing, Glenn?
Doing good.
It's good to see you, man. Welcome back to the program. It's been a little bit.
Yeah. I think we just played here, though, like last year.
I think it was earlier this year, but I wasn't able to make it, but I'm glad to be here in front of you tonight, man.
It blurs, you know.
You're looking good, buddy.
Thanks.
Good. There's a lot to talk about, and I know we're under some time constraints this evening, so I want to, first of all, talk about what you will be delving into in 06, your directorial debut with the Verotika title, Gerouge.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that. First and foremost, I want to ask, as you go into directing and writing the screenplay, is that always where you imagined yourself, and is that always what you wanted to do and where you wanted to be?
As far as directing, I mean, even before getting involved in all the bands I've been in, I went to New York Institute of Photography, so that's really, you know, one of the things I loved, and music. So it's not like that's always where I wanted to be. I want to do a lot of different things, you know, and over the years I've been able to direct a lot of the videos and edit them, you know. Even if I didn't direct it, they would always ask me to edit them, and so, you know, it's just a natural progression, you know. Finally getting able to do it. You know how Hollywood is, you know, you do that dance with the studios for a long time and nothing ever happens, but finally we got a production company that, you know, really is putting, you know, their money where their mouth is, so we'll get to do it, and we'll see. It's going to be really violent, you know. I haven't changed it much, you know. I've added a lot of different things. Yeah. There's some scenes in the movie that are not in the comics, of course, and they're pretty violent. Yeah.
Wow. Let's talk about that, because there's some people tonight maybe who may not be familiar with the title Gerouge and Verotika. What's the premise behind the movie, and if you can, share a little bit about the character Gerouge?
When I wrote the comic, you know, pretty much all the comics of Verotika have always been geared to be made into film, whether it's animation or live action, which Gerouge, you know, will have real actors. Gerouge is turn of the century New Orleans voodoo. It's pretty much what it is, and the movie is, I don't think anyone's really done a movie about that time period and about that subject matter, not to my knowledge. And there's not that many really good voodoo movies out to begin with, so it's going to be a cross between like a Once Upon a Time in America and crazy New Orleans voodoo and zombies and, you know, everything. So hopefully it's going to turn out good and everyone's going to really like it, you know.
Will you actually do filming in New Orleans, and if so, will the Katrina flooding out there have an effect on when you may start shooting out there?
The French Quarter wasn't really underwater, so that's really the only location stuff I need from New Orleans, because we have 3 swamps that we can use up in Hollywood area, you know. So we can fake that and it'll still look like a Louisiana swamp. We'll fly in some Spanish moss and some gators, and, you know.
I know that on the site, people that your webmasters or whatever had been saying, hey, submit, you know, possibilities for who might play Gerouge. If y'all cast the show yet? I mean, the movie?
I just handed in the 3rd draft of the script, and I guess it's been accepted. So, you know, aside from a tweak here and there, we're gonna get ready to go into casting when I get back. And
you know who I was thinking about? I was thinking about The Rock. Yay, nay? What do you feel about that?
I don't think we have enough money for it.
But if you did, don't you think it'd be cool?
It might be cool. That's a name. I didn't even think of that. We thought of some other people, like a guy who used to be on that Star Trek, what was it? No, it was Andromeda. The guy with the long dreads. You know that, you know, they do all those shows like Andromeda and Starship, Voyager and all that stuff. Yeah. It was one of those guys, the long dreads, he works out. He might be good for Gerouge, you know? And for Kulev, God, who knows? You know, I think we'll just have a whole bunch of girls come down and look at him, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As we wrap up talking about the movie, I have to ask, will there be Danzig music in the movie?
Not like Danzig the band, you know. There'll be like, I've already started doing soundtrack of voodoo drums and different weird noises and stuff for that part of the soundtrack. And this blues record I may or may not be doing with Jerry Cantrel. If any of that's cool and vibey enough, maybe some of that'll make it in there, you know.
Cool. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. as we talk about visuals and stuff for video, I want to talk about the DVD that came out in July, El Demonio Nera in San Antonio. For some of you who don't yet have it, please take a good look at. This is the latest DVD from Danzig. It's out in the stores. Be sure to go pick it up. I dig this DVD a lot because Danzig 4 is one of my favorite records that in your archive. But there's some questions that I have to ask. One is, I dig having all the different versions of the videos, but I kind of miss, like in Danzig 1 and in HUGE, where you kind of talked a little bit about your beliefs and little backstage stuff, and we don't have any of that in the new DVDs.
A lot of that stuff was filmed because we always had planned to do a Danzig 3 video, a Danzig 4 video, just like we did with Danzig 1 and 2. But when I got all my stuff back from Ruben, a lot of that stuff didn't appear and we couldn't find it. And I personally went to his warehouses where he keeps all American and Deaf American stuff, and we could not find it. So it was there. We wanted to put it on there, but we just can't find it. I mean, there's that whole scene in Danzig.
He's not hiding it, is he?
We don't know, but that whole scene in the middle of Danzig 4 with the coffins and everything, that was filmed. Throw that out the fucking door, man. Just cover it up. So, yeah, so it was filmed. Like you see them putting us in the coffins and everything, and so.
What about ever releasing Danzig 1 and HUGE on DVD? Because my VHS copies are really looking kind of bad now.
Well, we'll see what happens. Because Ruben can't. Yeah, hang on for a second. Give me that.